Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Red Zone, our very own sports show brought to you by the very good people of This is Revolution Podcast. I am your host, Jason Miles. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We're so glad you're here. For our returning listeners, subscribers, and especially our very valued patrons, hell yeah! So glad you guys are back with us. Also, for viewers of the main show, we will be back tomorrow at our regularly scheduled 6 p.m. Pacific slot. I'll be talking to two of the most prominent hip-hop journalists and authors, Jeff Chang and Davey D. We'll be discussing the United States government's decision to ban Jeff's book, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, on the formation of hip-hop. Also, we did an early morning stream on Tuesday with Deep State Cuba and Ben Burgess, where we discussed Israel and Iran and what we could be expecting moving forward. That show is up, so definitely check that out. Quick reminder that TIR is listener-funded programming. If you enjoy watching all these shows and have the means and feel so inclined, become a patron. You can access champagne rooms past and present, join us for patron-only call-in segments, and of course, movie nights, which we're going to have another one of this Friday, as it is Ninja Appreciation Month. And we've literally only watched one ninja movie. We watched a lot of other movies, but only one ninja movie. It's not acceptable for Ninja Appreciation Month. So we will be watching Revenge of the Ninja Friday. But let's talk about something that I don't see a lot of anymore. The two-way athlete. Bo Jackson had a mythical career, equal parts folklore and marketing brilliance. A Heisman Trophy winner out of Auburn University, Jackson was the surefire number one pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 1986 NFL Draft. But he would never don the creamsicle uniform. Bo didn't like the Bucs owner Hugh Culverhouse and refused to play for Tampa, instead opting to take his chances with professional baseball. It's hard to fathom for modern sports fans the will he play baseball or football narratives that once captivated the media. Would this generational talent sacrifice millions of dollars on principle? Simple answer, yeah. Jackson was drafted in the fourth round of the Major League Baseball draft by the Kansas City Royals, a clear first-round talent. Many scouts and owners believed he was using baseball as a negotiating tool, just as John Elway had done 3 years earlier when he refused to play for the then Baltimore Colts and instead suited up for the New York Yankees. Eventually, the rights to Bo Jackson fell to the then Los Angeles Raiders, who already had one of the league's best running backs, another Heisman Trophy winner, Marcus Allen. Jackson told the Royals he would play football as a hobby. After the baseball season ended, he would miss about half the NFL regular season and all off-season workouts. But none of that mattered. Jackson was a different kind of athlete. He could hit for power, but he struggled with left-handed curveballs. But 1989 would become his breakout year in both sports. Nike, sensing an icon in the making, launched the legendary Bo Knows ad campaign. The timing was perfect. Jackson led off the 1989 Major League All-Star game with a towering home run to dead center field off, sadly, Giants starting pitcher Rick Russell. That same year, he had his best NFL season, rushing for nearly 1,000 yards in just half a season. As the Bo Diddley scored commercials told us, Bo Jackson was superhuman. There would never be another athlete quite like him. While Jackson's feats become the stuff of legend, Deion Sanders also sought to sport greatness. Never one to miss a camera, Deion was an all-pro cornerback with the Atlanta Falcons and an outfielder for the New York Yankees. He was Bo's inverse, playing football full-time and baseball part-time, but still a quality starter, even leading the league in triples in 1992 with 14 in just 97 games. Deion wouldn't be the only multi-sport standout. Brian Jordan played in the NFL briefly before enjoying a solid Major League Baseball career. Charlie Ward, after winning the Heisman Trophy at Florida State, bypassed the NFL entirely for an 11-season NBA career. Kenny Lofton made the Final Four at the University of Arizona before even trying out for the baseball team and would go on to play 17 seasons in the majors. NFL defensive lineman Julius Peppers was also a starter on the North Carolina National Championship basketball team. And before Bo Jackson became a superhero to a generation, there was Dave Winfield. After college, Winfield was drafted by 4 teams across 3 sports. The San Diego Padres selected him 4th overall in the Major League Baseball draft as a pitcher. He was also drafted by the Atlanta Hawks of the NBA, the Utah Stars of the ABA, and despite never playing college football, the Minnesota Vikings selected him in the 17th round of the 1973 NFL draft. He remains one of just 5 athletes ever drafted by 3 professional sports leagues. So why don't we see these kinds of athletes anymore? Is it simply a matter of specialization? What role do cost and time commitments play? Let us discuss what happened to the 2-sport athlete. To have this discussion with me, I have my homie, my dog, my co-host in these sports endeavors, Matt. Yay!
If you can, go see Woo before you can't anymore. That's all I'm going to say. It's a phenomenal show. Remember, it's for the children. It's for the children.
I went down a Bo Jackson rabbit hole, and that's
I could tell.
Got me wanting to do this show, and it reminded me of an era where there were multiple players that wanted to play multiple sports at one time. I remember Deion not being the greatest player, but I didn't realize, 14 triples in 97 games is kind of insane.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we got to remember Deion spent a big bulk of his playing time in Cincinnati. He did start out with the Yanks, Atlanta with the Braves for a little bit. Because remember, he played both for the Falcons and the Braves in the same day.
Still crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a away game too, right? It wasn't like he drove to the stadium. Didn't he have to get on a plane?
Yeah, he did. And Deion maybe wasn't the same type of player Bo could have been. And we have to say could have been, right? Because Bo didn't even really recover physically enough to be, by like metrics, an average ball player until a couple years after that hip injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think, this was a guy who could cover almost the entire outfield. And after the hip injury, he split time between one of the corner spots and then DH'd. And that kind of sapped a lot of his power too, because a good power hitter, what does he do? He generates from, from the legs up through the hips, through the torso, it doesn't matter what day and age. You have a hip injury, dude, you're cooked, in the words of my son. Okay. Like, it's just,
watching Bo Jackson walk across the wall.
Yeah. I mean, he was like a freakishly big dude that was super athletic, right? Like you all remember the shoulder pads, the baseball bat, what Jason's got as our background, essentially. Remember, none of those Nike commercials at the the heyday of Bo Knows. He didn't have a shirt on for any of them. I actually think Bo Jackson being topless may have started blonde white girl love of yoked black dudes, and it just kind of carried on since. It's a joke, everybody. Let's not get up in arms. Gosh,
big giant dong. That's all they were looking
hanging.
For.
Just hanging.
Dong.
She sees like the elephant trunk and then looks up and sees this 12-pack, and she's just like, "Ooh,
Jesus! I don't know if I can handle that."
But like Deion had a different kind of skill set. He was a speed player. He was never going to hit for power. But he knew if he can get on base, that's where he could do his damage. Stormtroopers love them some chocolate. Oh man. It's maybe not the blonde white girl love, but white guys' love of the cuck chair. It is great. We are starting off with a bang tonight.
With a bang.
Oh man, we got a cuck chair reference already. We're like 3 minutes in. This is phenomenal.
Can you imagine Bo Jackson trying to, hey, I'd like to
mean,
bang your girl. Are you a cuckold?
yeah, you got a cup chair? See this guy named Bill coming? I do.
We'd be honored, Bo, if you came down here and just
Yeah,
had that giant thing of my
um,
wife. I'd just be honored.
this
Gosh,
is my
darn.
wife Gina, Auburn alum, 83. I'm 81. You know, loved watching on the gridiron. I'd be honored, and I'd even raise your mixed children as my own.
Hella mad. The cuck chair and Bo. That's the show. Should have been called Bo Jackson and the cuck
Bo
chair.
Jackson in the cuck chair. Yeah. You know, but like we know Deion was gonna make his bones on the base path, right? Not to knock Deion because I didn't play in any league and he played in 2. But for a man as fast as he wasn't what you would call a good fielder. And it's kind of like if Jason even implies Michael Jordan was a two-way athlete, I'm gonna punt his milk frother into the sea. Listen to here. Did you hit 240 in AA? I don't think so.
You know what's funny? I forgot all about Michael Jordan.
I mean, I wouldn't call him a two. Like, this is a dude that, I mean, I don't like conspiracy theories, right? Like, I really dislike them. But I think there is something to the fact that he was in deep with gambling and he had to go away for a little bit. Right?
Deep into the minors.
Right. And by deep, I mean, he was like, fuck it. I've always wanted to play baseball. It was my dad's dream. I go play.
So you think it was more of a way to get out of a suspension for gambling, and and the league could also get him out silently?
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You don't have to. You don't have to say, "Well, he did this, so he's going to be suspended, and if he ever comes back, we're going to reinstitute it." No, he went and rode buses for 2 years with a bunch of like 20-year-old kids. You know, David Stern, knowing David Stern, that seems like punishment enough, Michael. You can go ahead and come on back. I don't want to be
bus with normies.
Oh yeah, now your Wagyu steak. I have it cooked medium rare, just like you like it. It's only $600. You know,
that's a. I've heard that before. I think the NBA is one of those sports, and I don't want to dwell on this at all, where sports writers are always trying to figure out who the next Jordan is.
Yeah.
And then they think that the NBA gives that much of a shit about who the next Jordan is. And then that becomes the narrative for the next decade.
Yeah. I mean, and this is the thing. There's not going to be another Jordan, just like there's not going to be another LeBron James. Like, two phenomenal players, two generational talents, right? Mm-hmm. Who have their own game. We're not going to see guys like that again. And that's okay, because we're getting to see these other guys that are equally great in their own way. And I'm all right with that. I don't need another Michael Jordan. I don't want another asshole teammate who's so good, right? He just lords it over you. And let's not act like Jordan didn't do that. Like, Jordan walked into practice. He's like, I'm going to go all out. Like, this is game 7 of the finals, motherfucker. Steve Kerr, I'm coming for you, you little white bitch. Right? Like that's a type. I don't want that, man. Okay. Like, if I'm a player, the last thing I want is when I finally hang up my sneakers, especially now in the podcasting days, is like my teammates, especially like maybe your 3-point specialist or like your 3-and-D guy. Mm-hmm. They're like, so Mike McGinnis, and that guy just does this. And I know you've seen it.
Yeah. Like, fuck.
And then they get back up and they pull the mic closer and they're like, that guy, I know we won like 3 ships, but fuck that guy. Okay. Mm-hmm. Biggest dickhead. Like, always, like, we'd all go out together for a team event and he's sticking the fucking rookie with the bill, like just shit like that. Like, I don't want people to talk shit to me like that. Steve Kerr, welcome. No.
Welcome to the cuck chair.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Steve Kerr walks into a room, you're sitting in the cuck chair for him. Okay. He's just gonna throw down his like satchel of championship rings and say, you know what, you suck my dick.
And how many game-winning shots does he have?
God, dude. I mean, it's Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Um,
Okay, Nuri, before you stop with this fucking FIFA Club World Cup, okay? Because what they're paying the players is a fucking pittance. The winning team, Jason, gets $2 million to split amongst themselves.
If anyone thinks I'm ever going to stop everything that I do to take a deep dive into European football for all of 7 minutes, you're high as giraffe pussy.
Ooh. Always one of my favorite analogies.
Yeah.
Always one of my favorites.
Yeah. Just
Um,
not going to happen anytime soon.
but you know, like getting back to the two sport kind of star, like Dave Winfield, another once in a lifetime athlete, right? I mean, the thing is, every league is looking for an athlete, right? Nuri, I had like a good thought train going and you just derailed it. It's the pussy in the neck. What the fuck? Football is gayer than 9 guys fucking 10 guys. Wow. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I mean, these teams are constantly looking for like that hidden gem. I mean, the fucking Vikings, remember, signed Brock Lesnar.
I do remember that, yeah.
Right? Because they thought with his strength and his ability to, I mean, he was a collegiate championship wrestler. He knows something a little bit about leverage. He'd be a great defensive tackle. And the thing is, his win sucked. You know, you got to think, you got to be in constant contact with somebody for how long in that game? Like, he wasn't going to make it. You know, when you look at some of the basketball to football transitions, like Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez, remember, they were power forwards in college. And then they go on to be some of the best tight ends to ever put a helmet on. You know, I mean, it's kind of crazy where some of these organizations will look for talent. And I think a power forward is probably one of the easiest. Like, you know, you're going to be like in the middle, you're going to be in contact with people. You got to have good hands. Like, if I'm an NFL guy, I'm looking at collegiate like forwards all the time now.
Well, they were. Antonio Gates definitely was one of the last ones I can remember that comes out of a small school, didn't play college.
Okay, first off, Kent State, second largest university system in the state of Ohio. Okay?
Whoa, calm down here.
Whoa. Remember, the unofficial motto of Kent State is can't read, can't write, Kent State. It's a great university. I'm kidding. It sucks. I spent a year there.
It's okay. I've been to Kent, Ohio. I think Kent, Ohio is the show that they didn't pay us there. The guy goes, "I'm going to mail you a check," and we were like, "Yeah, that we're never going to get a check."
Yeah,
he did mail us a check. He mailed us a check with drugs.
You know what? What was the venue?
It was is it called the Outpost?
Yeah, it is. I knew that's
Yeah, the Outpost in Kent. And the guy was all tweaked out on bath salts. And so he sent us a check with and stapled to the back of the check was some bath salts.
Well, you know what? That's nice of him. Like he dipped into his own supply to get that for you.
He really appreciated us.
He did. You know, thank you for making my customers happy. I can't give you anything now. And like, you drive away, you and your whole band are like, well, that was a fucking waste. And then lo and behold, you're like, whoa, a check and bath salts.
Yeah. Yes. Like, dude, we were like, oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, that's great.
Bath salts. The Outpost. Yeah, that was the name of the place.
Yeah.
The Outpost in Canada.
Yeah, it's right down the street from a little joint called Cat's Cradle. Which, you know, there's one in every town, Cat's Cradle. You know, and I used to go the first time, believe it or not, one of the first times I saw Blink was at the Outpost.
It's a pretty big spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my ticket was like $10.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and now I'll die before Mark Hoppus makes tickets affordable again. You know,
you can't afford to see Blink. I know they're back on tour. I don't know anything about them. I
Oh,
do
dude.
not like that band.
Dude, the cheapest tickets I found were like $500. I'm like, fuck you.
Oh,
dude.
get fucked.
I used
Blink
to-
182 is about as accessible as a soccer game is to me. But yeah, I don't.
But yeah, I mean, like, I just think the biggest thing we have that's kind of a stumbling block now, because you got to think when you and I were growing up, like if you played football during fall, like you played a spring sport as well, right? You don't do that anymore, right? Like after the football season, you go into off-season programs, right? Hey, Red, I'm with you. USL for me is a better product than MLS, but that's just me. And there's a lot of people that would tell me to go fuck myself, and maybe I will later. I don't know. And it's not because you told me to. I just might want to. Yeah, you know, you don't tell me what to do.
Fuck you. I won't do what you tell me.
That's right. Rage Against the Machine said that, and I listen to every word they say. Not really, I don't. But you know, everything is specialized now. And like you said, with a lot of these kids after football season, what do? 7-on-7 clinics, individual, you know, positional clinics. All that shit costs money. All of it. And none of it's fucking cheap. You know, and the sad thing is, especially with you know, more urban schools, you know, moving to a pay-to-play model, where are these kids going to get the money to, you know, pay for 2 or 3 sports in a school year?
Well, I was going to add this. If you think about the fact that these guys played multiple sports, a lot of this was done at their school, and it wasn't club stuff.
Yeah.
And I think one thing we don't really take into consideration when we think about this era of multiple sport athlete was all this stuff was being offered by the school. So you could run track, play football, baseball, basketball, all that stuff.
Wrestle at some,
wrestle. Yeah, tons of guys wrestled as well. You could do all that after school. No one had to pay a lot of money for it, if at all. So that's why you get this. That's a big reason why you get this.
Yeah.
When that gets eliminated, now you're kind of saying anyone that can play sports has to be able to afford sports. So we're eliminating so many. That's why all these people love soccer on here, because they all grew up with parents with money. There's no third world people watching this show talking about soccer.
You don't know that.
Fucking orange slice his ass up.
You know what? Why don't you check the demographics of this? And I guarantee you'll probably see, dude, when I was running You Don't Know History, you want to know the country with the second most listens. It was like made up 15% of my downloads. No bullshit. Kenya. No idea why.
If there's a bunch of Kenyans watching right now, and I'm not talking about distance running, I'm sure that
wow.
You know what talks about?
Oh, Jason, no.
Yeah, Zahir's not lying, dude. The next live show we do, I'm just gonna get pelted with Capri Suns.
They're just gonna throw shit at you. There's gonna be a bunch of like Capri Suns and like frothers coming at you.
Damn. Fuck you. It's my life, man.
This frother sucks, dude.
No one believes me, or I think you guys think I'm over exaggerating when I say that the white family I lived with was a soccer family, and the mom literally won Soccer Mom of the Year.
That's a thing?
That's the thing. She won Soccer Mom of the Year, and she won a washer dryer. She didn't win the refrigerator. Maybe she won that fridge too, but I know she won a washer dryer, and she got a trophy. Soccer Mom of the Year.
Well, you know what, man? Good on Soccer Mom of the Year, I guess. But somebody brought up like the club soccer registration was cheaper than football and hockey. I mean, that's the thing. Hockey is one of the most expensive sports to break into.
Yeah.
Because I even know in Cleveland where some public schools offer hockey as a sport, you're bringing your own gear. The only thing they provide is the fucking socks, bottoms, and the sweaters. That's it. But you're bringing your own skates, your own pads, your own sticks, your own helmet, all that shit. You know, hockey, that's always been the great discriminator in people getting into it, is like people like to kind of get some nostalgia going about, yeah, you know, when Gretzky got started playing on the frozen pond behind his house. That shit doesn't exist anymore, okay? It doesn't.
Yeah, good luck with that. You could drown, kid.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, fuck that. I'm with you, dude. Frozen water? Yeah.
Fuck that.
I'm good.
The
Hey,
fuck
Mac,
do you
there's $1
live where
million
ponds are
on
freezing
the
over?
other side of this frozen pond. All you got to do is walk across it. I'll die
This
for
is
it.
this is you know what people always say this shit. Soccer is the cheapest to play. You shoot a ball into space. Shut up, man. Shut up. It's not true. You know what? You know what, Mac? Where I live, 2 kids were playing catch with a fucking baseball. No one plays soccer.
I mean,
I don't know what fever dream these people have that there's just little barefoot village children running around with a handmade ball out of paper scraps and the skins of the kid that didn't survive.
Jesus Christ, that got grim. I mean, the thing is, it's like I'm sure there's towns like that in Mexico, but like one of the largest professional baseball leagues on the planet is in Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, like baseball is wildly popular. I would even argue baseball is more popular. And as weird as this might sound, wrestling is more popular. I mean, Lucha Libre shit is wildly, like, they just did, like, WWE just bought AAA, which is like the second largest wrestling organization in Mexico. And they did a cross promotional kind of like special last weekend. And that fucking shit was sold out in like 2 minutes, you know? But yeah, I mean, this is the thing, as we see more and more states stop funding schools, in the guise of student choice, which I hate. Just say you don't like poor people and be honest about it, rather than, you know, Hassan Piker Podcast Academy. Kush, I heard that was a great degree to have. You know, I mean, Jason was actually pro Coney 2012 because he preferred child soldiers over them playing soccer. Wow. Jesus Christ. You know what? I'm all for you guys going after Jason right now. Typically, I get it.
Someone said, you don't need a helmet to play. I was like, who has a helmet just playing football in the street?
That's very true.
Like, calm down, you guys. No one. I've been to New York too many times to count, and never did I see a bunch of brown kids kicking a ball around.
I'm trying to stay on point here, guys. I was actually having a serious point, and then Prairie comes out of left field with this fucking like nuke on Jason. Prairie's like, Jason would rather have kids picking up rifles and killing each other than playing soccer.
Oh, you murdered a family of 4? That's fine. As long as you don't kick a fucking ball with your bare foot and think someone cares. You're not Brazilian.
What? Do you know who your dad is? No? Well, then you might be. Jesus Christ, we got off the rails again.
Oh, man. Stay on point.
I am. Because I think this is an important thing. Because kids are losing after school programs, whether it's sports, whether it's band, whether it's art programs, in the guise of the state cutting funding, saying, well, we prefer school choice. Parents should have an option as to where their kids should go to school. No, what you want is to take state money away from public schools and make it accessible to private and charter schools. Knowing goddamn well charter schools are a reason to print money for the person that started it and no one else.
Speaking of Deion Sanders.
Right? Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Because name me a fucking charter school that hasn't overinflated its student body because they're getting a check cut for X amount of dollars per student. It doesn't fucking happen. So there's another good point. And to break teachers' unions or to make it harder for teachers to actually unionize in states that don't have them.
Mm.
You know, school choice is fucking, you're right, Claw. I'm going to go with it. Dog shit. It's 100% dog shit. Because we can talk about, oh, well, we're going to make sure kids get scholarships so they can go to these private schools. And then what? Because it usually doesn't cover the total cost of attendance. Then what you're doing is putting a fucking kid whose parents are already probably tapped out in a situation where his parents are working. You have to pick up another job so I can send little fucking Billy to school across town.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you're taking up more of their time because they have to go pick up the kid across town. Oh, well, little Billy also wants to play sports at this particular school. And guess what? They don't cover shit. Okay, so how much more am I coming out of pocket so Billy can play baseball? Oh, well, Billy's playing baseball now. His friends are all going to this pitching clinic he wants to go to. How much more? It's such nonsense that puts poor working class people in a deeper hole just so their kids can have like a fucking semblance of a childhood. I will never understand anybody that fucking goes hard in the paint for school choice. Never. And what kills me is most of the fucking people that do are products of a public school. And, oh, well, teachers just aren't, they don't give a shit. Well, it's because the classroom shouldn't have more than 15 kids in it and there's 30 in there. You don't see an issue there? Oh, we're not getting enough qualified teachers that want to teach. Well, it's because their starting pay is like $38,000 a year. Why the fuck would I want to work for that? Especially the hours you put in as a teacher, especially when you're going to be coming out of pocket to cover a lot of your expenses. Like, dude, it doesn't fucking pay. It's horrible. It's just, it's nonsense. And why are we having this long drawn out discussion in the chat about soccer? Jason's not a fan. That's okay. Because guess what? I'm starting to like it. And if you'd like to talk about it with me, dude, just hit me up, man. Most of you guys know, where to find me. So, but I mean, for me, Virtuoso, that's part of it. But it's also the fact that most parents can't even afford the one sport now. Right? Because even if you're a pretty good athlete, right? And you've shown, an aptitude for a particular sport, even in public schools, man, you have a lot of coaches that are like, hey, if you really want to get your face out there, you got to go to this clinic. That clinic costs money. Right? If you want to refine your game, there's this guy that does one-on-one by the hour, that costs money. Like we've turned sport, right? Which was kind of a way, and it's kind of cheesy, but it's a way to build that teamwork and get used to working with people and just enjoy the game. They're taking that away and commodifying it yet again, just like, we've kind of railed against multiple times here. We've commodified everything. Your hobbies have to be commodified, to really be worth it. I told my coworker today that I was doing this show, and he's like, well, how much money you guys make off of it? Well, I was like, we do this because I was like, dude, we make some, but it's not why we do it. Well, then why do it? Because it's fun. Like we've been brainwashed into thinking that everything we do has to have some kind of financial payout. Would I love to get paid to read books? Fuck yes. Is that ever going to happen? Fuck no, it's not. but I still do it because I enjoy it. It's okay, to just do things that we enjoy. And that's what I miss most about like sports now for kids. It's like parents won't let their kids just enjoy it, hang out with their friends, be goofballs in the dugout or on the sideline. It's always, little Billy, his dad, telling him to choke up on the back, get deeper in, lean into the ball, take get hit by the pitch and take your base. Like, no, dude, he's there to learn the game. I noticed that, especially where I live in North Carolina. Hope Mills is a powerhouse, like a peewee team, like from ages 8 to 13, constantly sending teams out to like national tournaments and shit. And they just take it so serious. And I'm like, why? I don't get it. These kids are like 8. In a year or two, they could be like, fuck baseball. This shit sucks. It's a lot of standing around.
But that goes also back to what we were saying too the other day about kids sports. How parents, need kids to be professional athletes at the age of 8. And now that there's money in, Jesus, 9-year-olds. The New York Times article said a 9-year-old had signed an NIL deal. Why would anyone want to
did the kids sign it in crayon?
A magic marker.
Hey, Jacob.
That's a good kid name.
You have to sign on the line. What? Yeah, just put your name on the line. And like he writes it in there in the B's backwards. It says Jacob. And the agent's like, you know what? Close enough for me. All right, this is a legally binding document. All right, Jacob. You're Jacob, sorry. We're gonna give your parents all sorts of money, and you're just gonna do what we tell you to do. And when you see that kid burn out, turn into Todd Marinovich
at 12.
Yeah. He's 13. Chase is just sitting there just like, Jacob. Oh, fuck me.
Not again.
Jesus Christ. Mom, I'm just trying to get a smoke in before practice.
I was watching the thing on a basketball kid that was like, when he was like 9 years old, he could do all the dribbles and stuff between his legs and all the fancy stuff, but he never grew.
Oh, gosh.
And he played against, what's the ball kid that's actually good? LaMelo?
Oh, yeah.
Is LaMelo the good one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people don't understand. Like, you do a show about America and they're like, soccer. Well, I don't want to talk about it. No, soccer. I don't care.
It is the fastest growing sport in the United States right now.
I could walk around this whole neighborhood not in America and not find anyone playing soccer.
And that's okay.
I will find people boxing training. That's real big here.
Well, it's because boxing is phenomenal. Not only are you getting chiseled, but you can beat the fuck out of people. And that's always good. That's a good feeling. It's a good feeling, Jason. I like knowing I could just look at people and be like, you know what? I could probably still fuck their shit up. I'm in my 40s and I could probably hurt them. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel real good. And then there's other people that are like, I look at them and I'm like, I would get my shit rocked if I so much as fart in their direction. So I'll just give them a wide berth, Guys, listen, soccer it's a wildly popular sport in the United States now, right? And they're setting, it's safer, but like you guys have literally said you've sent Jason off into a, we have a show plan. It's just okay. Nuri, Jason, I need you both to go to your respective corners. All right. Take a time out, take a deep breath, and then we'll re-engage. All right. We're going to be adults about this. Prairie, I don't want to see Jason box you, even if you do pay him $500 in raisin salads. As much as I think he would appreciate that, I don't think that he would be down for that deal. But I Ayatollah, if I would learn a little bit about Aussie rules football, because I watch it when I'm high and it's just batshit crazy. Fun sport to watch, though. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, Jason, stop typing in the chat. Come back on screen. We're talking about two-sport athletes.
They're the worst people. They're the worst people.
No, they're not. We have great fans. We have great, phenomenal fans that are passionate about what
you tell people that you literally lived with Soccer Mom of the Year, and then their jealousy kicks in. They go, "You said soccer doesn't exist." I never said that. You're just mad because you didn't live with the Soccer Mom of the Year that owned two, not one, but two soccer stores. You ever done inventory to the soccer store there? Fucking Nuri, Mr. Philadelphia, where all the little black kids are playing soccer in the street, apparently. With their socks pulled up to their knees. That's what's going on right now.
Tony, we do have, I mean, that should be a thing we make, is the revolutionary Mexican man panties. I'm off 15. Jesus Christ, Kush. God damn it. I can't. I cannot with you fine people today.
See, look at the jealousy. Soccer Mom of the Year is the dumbest American shit I've ever heard.
We're not saying it's not stupid, Nuri.
Yeah. Did you think she fucking walks around with a ribbon on? It was kind of funny.
I mean, there are some moms out there that would totally.
You know what? You know what my favorite thing in the world is? When people try to be mean, and then you go, "Well, I could be mean, and I'm funnier than you, and I have the fucking microphone." And then you throw it back at them, and then they go, "Well, your panties are in a bunch." Really? Because your G-string right now is chafing your crack. And I don't know if you've done some shaving in the front, but it's probably caught up in the hairs of the balls.
God damn it,
does your G-string have the pocket where you can put your dick head in it, make it look bigger? Shove it in the little pocket.
Jason, what the fuck, bro? Anglo-pessimism, sure. Oh, Claw, you know what you got to do, man. You know what you got to do. Keep talking, Jason must have been a terrible preteen. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I was a little shit. Oh, Nuri. Guys,
he's just mad. Look.
We don't need to be mad.
Everybody,
listen. On this 19th day of Ninja Appreciation Month, we don't need this kind
out
of fighting.
here with a soccer ball, knocking on doors to the underprivileged in West Philadelphia, letting them learn, teaching them the joy of soccer.
I mean, the real shave ass in front at the same time. Well, welcome to Man Thong Chat. Okay, like this is where we're at now. Ninjutsu during Ninja Appreciation Month. Oh man. Well, I'm gonna change direction here, Jason. But I don't know if everybody saw, the Lakers are being sold by the Buss family to the owner of the Dodgers for $10 billion. I mean, all these conservative organizations are starting these, like, leadership council things. Why don't we just have a Marxist review where Jason and company are out there shaking dick in a thong?
Shaved.
Of course, front and back, apparently.
Yeah.
At the same time.
We're not fucking savages over here.
Yeah, there's no jungle coming out of the sides of our banana hammock. Okay? No, Tony, I'm not going that far. Not tonight. I'm tired. I don't
No,
know if
you
you can.
sent me a message about that. Actually,
I
no, real
did,
talk. You did send me a
but
message about that.
$10 billion. You want to know what the kicker of that whole thing is, Jason? It's 100% sale, no partial ownership.
I saw that.
Jeannie Buss will still be the team governor.
I saw that.
Like, what the? If I buy something, I'm not letting someone else fucking run it.
Is it because it's just they don't care? They just want the merchandising?
Bro, come on, man. I think we can honestly say Jeannie Buss has hit every proverbial rake over the last decade with the Lakers. Like, she just keeps stepping on them. She just keeps getting hit in the face with it. You know, like, I honestly, if I'm going to drop $10 billion, you know, on a team, fuck you. That's mine. Jeannie, thank you for all your years of hard work. You and your brothers get the fuck out. Not only, I'm not saying next week, pack your shit, get out of my office. I'll be there in the morning. And then I'm going to have my intern following me behind with my tray of cocaine and a latte. You know, like, that's the shit I'm talking about. If I'm dropping $10 billion on a franchise, you know, I mean, and I think the owner of the Dodgers has shown he's willing to spend, you know, like, maybe that's what the Lakers need. An owner that just like salary.
But is it really
Fuck
money the
that.
problem with the Lakers though?
I think it's spending money smart, you know. I think that's the issue.
Yeah, but it's not like spending money in general is a problem with the Lakers.
No. But if you, in the NBA, we've seen some team owners that are like, I don't give a shit about the apron, I'll pay the tax. And those teams, you know, they typically win at the end. It's not, you know, this is the first time in how long that we're getting like an indie OKC kind of like homegrown plug smart, you know, free agent pickups. And, you know, like, I've really enjoyed the series so far. I hope Ty Halliburton is okay. They're saying he kind of fucked up his leg. And if he's not there on the floor for Indy, I think OKC just kind of like bends, you know, Indy over and gives him the business. But, you know, it is what it is. What?
Zahir said the San Jose Earthquakes are up for sale.
Oh.
They have a soccer boner.
Dude, Jason, I'm gonna put you all in fucking timeout. All of you are gonna go in timeout for 5 minutes, and you're gonna think about what you've done. You have thrown me off my axis. I had great points to make, and I know I missed some. I don't know if you can see, but my typically pasty face is nice and sunburnt because no matter how many times I apply sunblock, I'm outside all day, sweat my ass off. I've lost 15 pounds last 3 weeks. This sucks. This is not what we applaud, Jason. This is not the good way to lose 15 pounds.
Is a lot of weight.
Yeah, and it's because I'm slowly dying out in the sun in North Carolina. Huh. Coconut, it is not abuse because I'm not going to say anything other than I'm just really disappointed in you. That's it. You know, that's it.
I mean, I wanted to talk about what you were talking about earlier, the problem why we can't have things like two sport athletes.
Okay, I mean,
like we can't have a soccer player and a rugby player.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. For years, we talked about how successful rugby players would be in the NFL from a pure, like, kind of like change of speed and tackling aspect. And then we had, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he ended up signing like a futures contract with the Niners and played some preseason. And the thing is, while he could change direction on a dime and maintain speed that he had already built up, it's kind of hitting that second level where some rugby players have issues, right? And I hate the comparisons between rugby and American football because they're two very different games. Other than the contact, there's really not a lot of similarities, right?
Not at all.
I think there's probably some guys that are good enough to make a successful transition from, you know, rugby union or rugby league into the NFL. or American football, I should say. The most successful guys we've seen that grew up playing rugby, and there's even been a couple former professional rugby players, they've been punters, right? Because they can, like, part of rugby is you got to be able to kick on a dime. You got to be able to put that ball wherever you want it to go. So punting has been a natural kind of extension of that. There was a dude, I think he was like 27 years old when he graduated college. That was a professional rugby player before he moved to the States.
The one that didn't mind tackling.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he did not. And he was a big dude too. For a punter.
Couple 100 pounds.
Yeah. Zahir, Rugby Sevens is insanely entertaining, but that game is entirely predicated on speed. Like, that's why Carlin Isles and Perry Baker, who are both collegiate sprinters, had such a phenomenal international career. Jordan Mailata, thank you, Claw. Always coming through for us, man. Always coming through for us. I appreciate you. These sports are different. And when we talk about specialization a lot, right? And I think that's another big thing. When, we were growing up, you played football in fall, and then a lot of dudes played baseball in the spring. So you have the background there, right? Bo was Bo, and Deion was Deion, right? And, people can sit there and say that, Bo used baseball as a leverage tool to make sure he never played it down in Tampa, right? Which at the time, you can't really blame him. Tampa Bay sucked balls.
I didn't know the owner had said that about him, and it got back to him where he said he didn't call him a nigger. He said he's a fucker. He's a fucker from bumfuck Mississippi. He won't want to stand in the minors for $100,000 a year. He'll come here for millions. Yeah.
I mean, full disclosure, the owner of the Buccaneers at that time was a raging racist, but he also liked making money. So exploit black people, make money, and still say the N-word with a hard R. I can do all those things because I'm a millionaire, but the thing is, now we've siloed kids, and whether that's through, parents having, trying to live vicariously through their children, or these kids showing an aptitude for whatever sport, and the parents just keep pushing them in to that sport to continue, like, hey, we're going to get private coaching. You're going to do AAU in the summer. You're going to do club as well as school. Like, that. And I don't know what Coach Will would have to say about this. And I'm interested to see what he would say. So if you could line him up again, is how many high school coaches want their kids, especially their best players, playing other sports now with the possibility of injury being there?
Will's a different dude because he does come from the era that you're talking about. And he does understand that sometimes his better players may be even better, let's say, playing football.
Yeah.
And I want to say a few years ago, Oakland High, where he coaches, won the football league as well. They won basketball. They took state in basketball and I think football. He definitely always has a lot of guys that play both sports. I think high school, you can kind of get away with it if you go to a school like Oakland High, because I wouldn't say it's regardless of the fact that there's guys that have gone on to several NFL professional leagues from that school. I don't look at it as a sports school, like a school like maybe De La Salle or Long Beach Poly or St. Louis,
where I feel like those schools are just built around the sports.
Yeah.
Right. Like at this point.
It's not. It's a school kind of for bad kids. They have a low graduation rate. He can tell you some horror stories about some of the kids that have come through the program.
I'd be interested in asking him, like, what do your peers think? Like, we know Coach Will is just like, hey, bro, if you're gonna go play ball, football in the fall, fine. Just take some time off before we start practice. Like, I get that. Will strikes me as that kind of guy. But what do his peers say? Because I've got buddies that are coaches now, and they're like, dude, I don't even let my kids do track. Right? And I'm like, why the fuck not?
Why the fuck not?
And it's all because I can't afford to have them getting hurt in the spring, going into summer practices, then into the fall season. So it was.
But don't you want to say to them, like, who the fuck is your kid, dude? Is it Arch Manning? Because if it's not, I don't give a fuck who your kid is.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing, though. We've done so much like parent empowerment. Like when I was subbing, why do I have students' parents coming in to bitch about, the subject matter of the chapters we're working on? Like I had two parents come in bitching about when I talked about, Black Wall Street Massacre in Tulsa. Well, I don't like that. Well, why is that, sir? Why is that? Let's talk about this. Right?
What did they want you to talk about?
Oh, we'll see.
The War of Northern Aggression?
Well, yeah. they struck me as those types. Well, they were like, well, I understand, like, this is an important piece of history. But was it really a massacre? Because I saw something on the internet that said it was a riot.
Wow. Was it really a massacre?
I was like, listen, dude, here's the thing. A lot of the things that you hear called riots were named that because a bunch of white people went into minority areas and killed a lot of the minorities. And they didn't want to seem to be the bad guys. Because massacre is a pretty bad word. And they're just like, well, I read it on the internet. Okay, well, I've got a whole book here if you'd like to borrow it and read about it, and they weren't interested. But, those parents just walked into the school and into my classroom to confront me.
It felt real comfy.
Right. That's parents with coaches especially, because let's face it, when you and I were growing up, there was always a couple of them, right? Now, holy shit. Like it's just fucking, it's batshit crazy how I believe there should be, wow, his teacher defends riots.
This has been like the funniest fucking thing.
But
cracking the hell up.
Why? I believe there should be some access that parents have, because like you're entrusting your children to these people and you want to make sure your kids are safe. Why do parents have the coaches' fucking phone numbers? Why? Like my buddy was telling me a parent hit him up on Instagram DM to say, you need to play my kid more.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa.
And I'm just like, that is nuts. That is nuts. We just have so much access to these people, to coaches or teachers or whatever, where the particular situation calls for.
Yeah.
I think that's a whole nother added level of just bullshit that's thrown in, and let's face it, you and I both know the people that say they have a very good athlete who's a phenomenal football player that would be like, listen, you keep pulling my kid out to like share carries with another student. I'll just pull my kid. We'll go down the street, like dangle it over a coach's head. Like you couldn't pay me all the money in the world to coach with some of these parents out there now. Could not fucking do it.
Have you ever watched that documentary Trophy Kids?
No.
I don't know what streaming service it's on. It might even be on YouTube at this point, but it's about these parents that are trying to push their kids to be great, and the kids just don't kind of want to do it. And there's a basketball guy, and he's been training his son, paying for like personal training and stuff for a while, and the kid's not good at all. Kid's horrible, and he's in a game. And the kid has this look on his face. He's frightened because his dad is there just screaming. And so the kid, Mac, is chucking up threes. And when I say kid, I mean he's like 11 or 12. Like he's a child.
Yeah.
And he's just missing the entire backboard.
He looks like Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes, raindrops.
He's like, make it rain. He's just like hitting the top of the backboard.
The kid is just, he's horrible. He's horrible. Every time he gets the ball, it's that kind of like, okay, we're gonna throw it to you so we can get our dribble back.
Mm-hmm.
No, this kid is fucking chucking up nothing.
He's
So the
Kobe
coach
late.
pulls him.
Kobe late in his career. Kobe's just like, I get the ball. It's my shot.
Kobe throughout his career.
Well,
dude chucked up a lot of shots.
he did.
But this kid is just so the coach pulls the kid because he's fucking up, and the dad loses it. And they're interviewing the dad. You know, how do you feel? Your kid just got pulled. He's like, he was just starting to heat up.
Wow.
There's a level of delusion, and I think those people are the minority.
Yeah.
But I don't have a child that plays any sports, so I wouldn't know anymore.
Stuart brought up a good question, though. What age should a team start focusing on winning rather than giving kids equal playing time? I'll tell you this right now, Stuart. What I think, you start pushing for winning in high school, right? Because that's kind of the goal. You want to make the playoff in whatever your sport is, or a tournament, whatever your sport is. Because like you could, there are some schools that have gymnastics programs. I don't know who, but they're there. You know, but you want to make the playoffs. You want to go to state.
Mm.
You know, that's what you want to do. You know, but like, I think high school is good. You know, at a younger age, when you're trying to teach the game, you want everybody to play so they learn through doing. You know, by high school, though, you either know the game or you don't. Like, let's be honest, right?
I cared about winning in junior high. Did you care about winning in junior high?
I wanted to win.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to throw a fit about it.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
High
Not
school.
Not a fit. Like, you're bummed.
Yeah, but yeah, you know what I mean? But like in high school, I took it personally when we lost.
Did you have friends that would tease you the next day at school?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Saturday morning film. Why are you still pissed off, man? That was last night. So I hate fucking losing. I can't, you know.
No, I meant tease you like I would tease you. Like, hey, Mac, you know you still struck out, right?
Oh, yeah, dude, yeah, I did.
You can get all the hits in the world, but you went 0 for 4 last week.
Yep. Yo, hey, Mac. Hey, yeah, I know you're a fullback, but you completely missed that dive play.
Yeah, just like shitting on you.
You know, but like I think me hating losing made me a good boxer because I would go until I couldn't, right?
So
and
I've had a sport where no one was going to tease you because you beat the shit out of
bitch. I mean, dude, when I started like kind of like making my bones in boxing, like my junior year of high school, people like stopped fucking with me a lot. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why did you guys stop? And they're like, because I'm not about to get punched in the face, man. And I'm like, I'm not going to hit you because you fucking bust my chops, you know? But like, you know, it's just, I hated losing. I hated it. And the thing is, I didn't play on a good team. You know, we lost 6 to 8 games a year. And it's because our entire roster was 35 players. And we played in a conference where 4 teams had over 100 players. Jesus like they would just grind us into dust.
And you were the bad news bears of
dude, we were
Little League football, Pee Wee football.
Dude, we were the bad news bears of the TAC 8. Like that was the conference I played in high school. Just a bunch of dudes. Like our biggest lineman was a guy named Joe Jablonski, and he was like 6 foot, maybe 240. Maybe. We played Girard, which is right outside. It's in Youngstown.
Mm-hmm.
Their defensive end, he played left tackle. Their end got up under his pads, just picked him up, and no bullshit, Jason walked him in the backfield and just set him down.
So you guys are the Washington Generals of Ohio high school football.
Yep. And we ran the triple option. So like, you know, we were able to keep it close in probably the first half. But when that second half started and we're like, we've spent every bit of energy we had doing what we did. And that third quarter kicked off, dude. They had this fucking wideout that was like 6'4", 210, ran like a 4.4 40.
Last name Carmichael.
Oh, bro. He ended up playing 3 years at Texas Tech. But he put on a clinic in the second half, dude. Second half, he had like 9 catches, like 240 yards, 4 touchdowns. They were just like, hook it, chug it football to these wide receivers. And we could not keep up, man. It was just so bad. And like we got home, like because we played the away game, dude. We get home, we go to our locker room, we drop our shit, we pack up our laundry bag, and my coach is like, "That was it's a rough loss, guys." And dude, I looked up and I'm like, "Rough?" I was like, "Dude, we just got fucked," right? And my coach looks at me and he's like, "Tomorrow morning, I got you." And I'm like, "All right, man." Next morning, I didn't even get to watch film. He just made me run laps for the entire hour.
Oh, that's fucked up.
We don't swear. We don't swear in the locker room.
Mac, you were saying something about Lower Marion. Isn't that where Kobe went?
Yeah.
I thought they were supposed to be good.
I mean,
not anymore.
I don't. Maybe they're not anymore. I don't know. Oh, dude, yeah, dude. Braylon Edwards in high school was already a fully formed adult.
Is he from Ohio?
Yeah. Dude, he like when you look at a guy like Ted Ginn Jr., Ted Ginn was more of like your speedy guy, right? He would be great in the NFL now, but when he came out in 07, 08, like the game wasn't there for him yet. Like it wasn't set up the way it is now. But like Ginn was a smaller dude, but Braylon Edwards was just like the Incredible Hulk. Just walking around.
Age, right?
Yeah. Just walking around his high school fucking like at 200 pounds. And like when he left Michigan, dude, he was like 230. He was fucking huge, man. Oh. Yeah, he did, Red, but he moved from Ohio. His whole family was from Ohio. And everybody, all the Ohio State fans were like, "He's coming home." And I'm just like, all right. Who gives a shit? Like I didn't. Yeah. I mean, the sad thing is, dude, I love the Buckeyes. I love college sports, but you know what I don't get fired up about? The decisions of 18-year-old kids. Like, I can't do it. They're kids, man. They might like Ohio State on a Monday. By Thursday, Texas Tech might, write a bigger check.
So what?
And they like Texas Tech better,
So seriously, like what happens? Like we were talking about this, or we were trying to talk about this seriously, but you eliminate fun. I think what happens, we talked about this the other week, when you start paying children and that just that's in the ether. I think you eliminate fun. Like a lot of people are talking about in this chat about playing sports for fun. And I don't care what sport you play, even soccer. You want people to have fun.
Yes.
Right? Even at the high school level, I want you to win, but I also want you to have fun because there's a good chance you're not going to be professional.
Oh, dude, yeah. And that's when
did you read this comment that Charles
I was captain of my high school wrestling team and played varsity soccer. I never saw it as a future, but I mean, that's the thing, Charles Ghost. Like, I agree. Like, you learn how to work with other people, where whether we want to or not, you're never going to be in society where you're not working with other people, whether at work or like say in a volunteer, position or whatever. You're always gonna have to work with people. And I think sport is a great way to teach that. Like when my ex and I decided, when she decided that the kids were going to be homeschooled, I was really worried about that, and honestly, it was a worry about nothing because she ensured that they went to like homeschool groups and were involved in sports for a little bit.
It's not just for white weirdos that don't want their kids around brown people.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's important for kids to learn, especially that there's going to be a teamwork. I mean, kind of cheesy to use that, but there's a teamwork aspect to surviving in the world, and if you can't teach a kid that, then that kid's going to have it hard. But it does teach you hard work, because what do you not want to do? You don't want to let your team down. You might suck. You might only be on the practice squad, right? Or maybe you only play JV, but you're prepping like, if somebody gets hurt, I'll play Fridays, right? Or I'm going to be the best tackling dummy for the star linebacker that I can be. Like, you don't want to let your team down, and I think that's important too. Like, I'm not saying like get all fucking pumped for where you work, because honestly, fuck that place. But there are coworkers that you have that you don't want to let down, so don't. You know.
Well, even thinking of things like solidarity, right? When you understand how to work together, I mean, that's the one thing I try to take from when I see protests, even though sadly, some of the things I've seen from some of the LA protests have been a little heartbreaking. As far as individuals using it as photo ops is kind of gross.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. That's the society we live in now, which is upsetting. But even that aside, I've been humbled and impressed with how many people got out, and also impressed with their ability to make a rad fucking sign. Oh, I saw some good ones. You know, but it's just fuck. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Jason. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm even thinking Nuri says something about his daughter. He has a daughter, that was a cheerleader. Even that is not cheap.
No.
If your kid is in cheer, God forbid your kid takes cheer seriously. That's expensive.
Yeah. And honestly, cheer is probably one of those things where you really come to depend on people, because let them fuck up once. That's it, dude. And this is the thing, like, we can't, when we take the fun out of anything, it just leans more into that fucking like rise and grind nonsense that makes up so much of like the collective American psyche, where we have to commodify our hobbies, right? Like, I like to knit. I'm gonna make some hats and sell them. Why do you want to sell them? We're running out of things that we can just genuinely enjoy. We really are. And the sad thing is that's the norm now.
Is that why people love pickleball? Because it is just a simple thing that people just do.
I played it 2 weeks ago.
Was it fun?
No. It was so dumb, and it was so hot outside. I just was like, why the fuck am I here? And so, Mac, would you say that commodification of middle school and high school sports has ruined the social benefits of organized statewide athletics?
It's getting there.
Yeah, we're hitting this tipping point with it. We had this great equalizer in NIL, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what it was. When colleges and universities and athletic departments are generating millions upon millions of dollars on the backs of unpaid people, that is the epitome of exploitation. NIL kind of leveled that field. The House of the NCAA settlement, I think, is going to throw some things up in the air, especially with this new NCAA enforcement mechanism, which is just kind of like, hey, guys, you're signing this thing. We expect you to abide by any decision that comes down. What happens when Alabama's like, no, I don't want to?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen if Ohio State goes, no, I don't agree with your findings and they're bullshit? What is this fucking enforcement arm going to do? Well, Ohio State, we're going to strip you of scholarships. No, you're not. And this is the quandary we'll probably find ourselves in a few years, right?
Yeah.
Now, when states started allowing high school students to do the same thing, I think this is where we kind of lost the plot.
Okay.
Right? Because NIL was supposed to be an equalizer for exploited athletes, which I think we can all agree college students were. Or student athletes, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Athletes.
Sure.
Because the term student athlete is such a passe fucking gross thing. Now, when we start allowing high school kids to do it, though, that is the part that really, when North Carolina was one of the first states to do it, Jason. Like, no bullshit. I'm like, and now we have kids in New York at 9 years old. Right?
Yeah.
You know, like, why? You know, how many high school teams are generating millions and millions and millions of dollars in revenue, you know, outside of, honestly, you've already mentioned probably 3 of them: De La Salle,
St.
Louis,
Long Beach Poly.
Yeah, Long Beach Poly, and IMG, obviously.
IMG,
right?
yeah, I can't forget IMG. Yeah.
But outside of that, who's actually making money off their teams? Nobody. You know, like, so why introduce this measure into that when we're already, you know, seeing a lot of upheaval in interscholastic athletics?
My tinfoil hat conspiracy theory is that marketing to certain demographics has become more difficult as we become more atomized in the way we take media in. And how do you get young people away from video games that are all consuming, right?
Yeah.
Video games are very different in 2025 than they were in 1995.
Yes.
When we thought that, you know, what, the PlayStation and Neo Geo, like that was going to be,
Yeah.
you would still leave the house because games had an end. And now we're into probably a decade where people buy things in the game. It's common.
Yeah.
Most things are played online. So as everyone's kind of online, having little influencers worked great for toddlers. With that kid Ryan, do you remember him?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
kid's old enough to
we
young
did
enough.
not,
I'm sorry, your son young enough to
we
watch
did
that
not
kid?
allow them a lot of access to the internet until they turned 13.
But you
And
know who I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
kid that would like play with toys. Then he eventually got his own line of toys. There's
Mhm.
people like Blippy. The internet opened up this thing where we watched kids watch kids play with toys.
Yeah.
And I always found that interesting. And not, I don't know if bad or whatever. I just found it interesting. So to have young influencers, you know, they're not getting money from the school. They're getting money from Nike and Adidas. And, you know, everything's changed in the era of constant streaming and constant scrolling.
Mhm.
Like the mall is dead. Magazines are dead. So where do people get their fashion updates?
Yeah.
I walk around a city like San Francisco where I used to see kind of arty looking people at one point in time. And now everyone looks like, oh, dude, you totally got those pants from fucking Instagram.
Yeah.
So why not have children be your mannequins, your live mannequins for this stuff? And that's where I see them playing a role, and why people would even want them as basically little brand ambassadors that are going to be completely loyal to the dollar. And you exploit a child that's, you know, he's 5'3" at 12, or no, I say 12, 11, and you think he's going to be a giant, and maybe he's 5'5", maybe he's 5'8".
That's me. I was 5'3" at 11. I'm 5'8" now. You know?
There you go. I'm telling the story of Mac. The story of Mac.
You know, but the sad
Revolution
thing
Podcast.
is, I don't even think it's just that. What these sports leagues, and when you look at like the amateur executives of like USA Soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're terrified. They're like, they know soccer is the fastest growing sport in America, but participation in youth sports is way down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They like to correlate that as to kids are playing video games rather than going out playing sports, rather than looking at it's getting too expensive for kids to play sports. Right? And if we looked at it that way, we probably could fix a lot of things, man. Right? Let's look at the price
and the time.
Yeah.
You work multiple jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Does your ex work multiple jobs?
Yes. Starting
So
at like 4 a.m.
you're not the only person probably on your block who works multiple jobs. So if you work multiple jobs, when are you going to have time? God forbid you have a child. When
Yep.
are you going to have time to take this kid anywhere?
Yeah. And this is what kills me about just the state of things, right? Is, you and me growing up, whether you were good or not,
Mm-hmm.
you played a sport, right? It was just what we did. And now you don't see that a lot. Like you said, you have so many either parent or parents working multiple jobs. They can't, shoehorn time in to go pick their kid up from practice or get them to practice or to whatever, right? And you also have this issue now of, my dollar can only stretch so far.
Mm-hmm.
And the school saying it's going to cost me $100 to allow you to play football. And what does the school do? Well, look at what we provide. We give them shoulder pads, helmets, give them a pair of practice cleats and game day cleats, which is essentially what we got. So $100 is just a drop in the bucket for what we're paying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, I know where the high school I graduated from, where they got their money. The state of Ohio had a special grant fund for schools that were low income and wanted to continue to run sports programs. And at one point, it was like the state of Ohio earmarked like $100 million a year for it. And now that fund, I think, is only like $2 or $3 million. Because they want to pass everything off onto parents. Like it just goes into that investment into kids, which is disappearing. They expect the parent to foot the bill for all this.
That's insane, dude. It's insane because what are you getting from the school? And this is even a knock on the schools. Are the pads up to code?
When were the last time the helmets were replaced?
Yeah, that stuff. There's codes for that now.
Yeah.
Like we know a lot more than we did, even 10 years ago about head injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, again, I look at it as more of who has the time. How many single parent households do we have where even if you're working from home, can you make the time?
Yeah.
We've made work slavery in the when I say that maybe I shouldn't have said that. Work is 24. It's no different. For a lot of people, work is 24 hours, especially if you work from home.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about entrepreneurs like myself.
No, you're talking about people who carry full-time jobs and they're like, well, I got to go lift for 3 hours tonight so I can make rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the sad part, right? What we've done as Americans as a whole, okay, and this is going back to the 70s, is we've elected either party, doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. We continue to elect people that make keeping wealthy people wealthy the priority over actually doing things and enacting legislation that's good for the people. And that goes hand in hand with a lot of the Supreme Court precedents that have been passed down since the mid-'80s that say things like corporations are people as well. They should have a say in elections. That's fucking ridiculous. Right? When they enact new tax laws or tax legislation that overly benefits people of wealth, over us, we continue to do this and do this and do this. And it's like, it's the literal very definition of insanity. We do the same things over and over again, expecting a new outcome. And it just enrages me that we do this, because this has led to where we're at now, where we have to commodify hobbies or take the fun out of things in order to earn enough money just to get by. We're not living at this point. The working class and the poor are not living, we're existing. Living involves you going out and enjoying things, you know, like I got to live between May 30th and fucking June 10th of this year. Why? Because I saved up a bunch of money and I went to a bunch of concerts, and it made me beyond happier than I've been in years, you know? But then at the end of that time period, what do I have to do? I have to go back to a place I hate to work for a bunch of idiots who pay me a very small wage to do the job of 3 people, you know? But this is where we're at, and it all ties together. It's a very convoluted web, but it is a web, and it's all attached. It all feeds into each other. We shouldn't be removing fun things for kids. Things suck. Things suck real fucking bad right now. You know, we're possibly inching up to the point where we're going to be sending American children, and yes, children, to die in Iran. That sucks. Because if you think we had it hard in Afghanistan, fuck you. Wait till you get to Iran. Those dudes don't fuck around. And this isn't a group of guerrillas and sandals and hand-me-down weapons. This is a professional army with fucking good equipment that is just going to see you as the invader. And I don't know if you're a student of the Iran-Iraq war, Jason. Do you know what the Iranians were not afraid to do at a certain point? Fucking human wave attacks. They did not give a shit. You know? We're in an economic system where they're projecting 20% of our jobs will be gone and replaced by AI within the next 5 to 7 years. Mostly entry level. So you're going to go into debt to go to college, think you're going to get a job. Oh, wait a minute. Entry level jobs are gone. Things fucking suck. Why take enjoyment away from anybody, let alone children? I hate it. You know? Like, dude, if my kid wants to, like, Bailey loves to draw. Bro, I pay for Procreate. I make sure she's got a new Apple Pencil. You know, like, I've taken her iPad to, like, an iShop a couple times. You know, but just because her screen got kind of beat up, wasn't reacting. You know what I mean? Like, I want my kid to take some enjoyment out of something because she's 16 years old and terrified because she's a gay woman. You know? It's just, we need a complete recalibration in that it's okay to just enjoy things. Like, somebody gave me shit. They're like, you're a ska fan? Why don't you grow the fuck up? Bitch, ska makes me happy. I like hearing trumpets and guitars and a bass and a fucking good drummer. Okay?
And sometimes I wear a pork pie hat on a Saturday.
That's right. Sometimes they do. Okay? And it makes me happy. And I'm not going to fucking let anybody talk shit to me about grow up, man. Ska, it's for kids. Yeah, you can suck my dick from the back. It makes me smile. And pork pie hats.
You know what's funny? There was this ska guy driving all stupid when I was trying to leave the U.S. I knew he was a ska guy because he looked like he was friends with Dizzle.
That's fair.
He had his fucking pork pie hat on, and I was just bitching about ska. I was like, "Fuck you, you trumpet playing,
saxophone blowing, fuck
fuck you wacky dancing bastard." Fuck the specials. How does that sound, huh? What are you going to do about it? Skank all over me?
You know, it's just we need to just enjoy more things, man. Just to enjoy them. Like I will never understand the need to be doing something because it brings me joy, because I like it. Right? It is, Augie. It's all about the horns, baby. Let's go. Right? But I've never, like, as hard up as I am, I never thought maybe I should start doing this thing that I enjoy for money. because at that point, I'm not going to enjoy it anymore. It's just going to be another thing I have to do to make sure the lights stay on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I was talking to a friend about what I do with this, and she had said, do you ever think that she goes, I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you this, that maybe it's a bad idea to do all these different things and you should stick to something that actually, you know, brings people in. I was like, but then I would hate it.
Yeah.
And I would have to follow what's hot. And what's hot right now is like talking about other people.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You know,
I'd rather you guys shit on me for like 20 minutes about soccer than give a shit about what Sam Cedar said yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care if I like how we're trying to grow leftists, right? I mean, that's fair.
Actually really funny.
Fucking Nuri. Fucking Nuri. Just, you know, listen, Jason may not like soccer, but if all of you enjoy soccer, go fucking enjoy it, man. One of the most fun times I had, I got to do an interview with one of the head of marketing for the Oakland Roots. Phenomenal interview, phenomenal organization, run by great people. And if USL gets the go ahead to start their top tier league, it's only going to be a matter of time before the Roots are in it. Like, they're a phenomenal organization, a lot of fun, probably one of the best kitted teams in the fucking country, if we're being honest. But yeah, man, like, I'm tired of children thinking that they have to do things to make money, you know, at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. There are certain kids that are probably going to grow up like me, where I had to work through high school just to help my mom pay bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes a lot out of you, even at a young age, when you have all the energy in the world. But like a 9-year-old kid signing an NIL deal, you know exactly what that's going to turn into.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another Macaulay Culkin situation,
mm-hmm.
you know, where mom and dad fucking essentially set that money on fire because they bought a boat and the fucking Chevy Silverado 2500 to tow it.
Because it's never ending. The money's never ending, right? Yeah,
you know,
so you think. Yeah.
And they just keep setting that shit on fire when that kid turns 18, thinking, well, you know I earned a couple $1,000,000. Mom and dad's like, well, here, son, you're 18. Here's the access to your account. And they hand him his phone. The account signed it. You know, he's got $1,200 in it. You know, he's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like Gary Coleman, right? There's so many the whole thing, we're in essence looking at child labor differently, and we're trying not to see it as labor, right? We're
that's
trying
exactly
to see
what it is,
labor.
though.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
we are rolling back the clock, Jason. Like fucking Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders signs a goddamn law that says kids as young as 14 can work in meat packing plants.
Exactly.
What?
When you this is why we talk about this shit here, because when you say it's okay for a 9-year-old to labor, you have no problem when the 14-year-old labors, because we've normalized it.
Yep.
And that's my big issue with this shit. I don't want to normalize a return to child labor because they have tiny little fingers.
Yeah.
And they fit in the machines.
Their reflexes are better so they can get their hand in before the dart comes and takes it all off, you know? Like,
and the thing about young people is, if you got poor parents, you want money. And if someone's saying, I can go get money, you're going to go get it.
Yep.
It's legal. Everyone's going to pat you on the head when you're 14 with a job.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to pat you on the head. There's so many things that have changed back to a time that we weren't even alive for. Our parents weren't even alive for.
Dude,
maybe even our grandparents weren't alive for.
It's like Eugene Debs never existed at this point. Okay, like
Dude, the
it's
things people are totally okay with. I was having about labor. I was having a conversation with my kids because I was up north for Father's Day, and it was my daughter and her boyfriend, and I was bitching about how I hate surveillance culture. Right? I really hate videos. You know, there's some fucking chick in a Jimmy John's sandwich place yelling at the Jimmy John's sandwich person. Both people yelling at each other make like $5 a decade, but some asshole records the yelling person, and then some other asshole that has a huge YouTube / TikTok channel where all they do is find angry poor people and they go, let's get this person fired. Let's get this Karen fired. And it's like, dude, she's got medical scrubs on and she's not a fucking doctor. So at best, she's a dental assistant. Like, slow down. This chick doesn't need to be fired. She probably just needs a fucking hug or a day off. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
And or people saying the N-word. And I'm like, look, I'd be mad if someone called my kid the N-word because he's 6 and that kid was 5. He doesn't have to be autistic. But I might punch you. I might, right? I'm not going to record it. My first thing to do is like, oh, I'm aghast at you. I'm like, why'd you do that? Like fuck right off.
Yeah.
And then we're done, right? But what was interesting was my kids were saying, no, those people deserve what they get because they should know better. And they said, we even know to watch ourselves when we walk down residential streets because everyone's got a Ring camera. And I'm like, why do you think on your day off someone should get fired?
Yeah.
It's your day off. She wasn't teaching the class and going, test scores would be better had it not been for all these N-words.
Yeah, I mean,
the Asian kids are performing, but these N-words, that's a different story.
I had this discussion with my reading group, right? Which we lost 6 members when they found out I was in the military because apparently you can't have joined the military and still show class solidarity, which I was unaware of. But okay. But we were having this discussion about actual class solidarity. And I'm like, you realize that working class solidarity even involves people that will motherfuck you to your face, that will not have a kind word for you. Your solidarity has to extend to them as well.
Thank you.
And they're like, why? Well, because they're working class as well. Just because the blinders haven't been lifted off their face yet doesn't mean that we actively go out and try to make their material conditions worse. Like we don't hope that a conservative person loses their position at their company because of AI, right? We want this person to have a job and be able to support their family. Dre, I'm still figuring out like getting it online, so maybe we can all participate. Because I think the more we get together to talk about this stuff, the more we can kind of understand where each other's coming from and honestly streamline the message. I think that's a big part of the problem with leftism. There's too many isms. There's too much, dialectical materialism. There's too many terms. Yeah. Like, how do we how do we get this easily digestible to more people? But like, I'm with you. I don't want anybody to lose their job. I know what it was like to live in the backseat of a car when I was a kid. I'll never understand the want to actively hurt somebody. And we all know what happens. Like a lot of us are a paycheck away from fucking being destitute. Mm-hmm. Why would you want that for someone else? The only person I want to see actively broke own some of the teams that I love so much.
I think that's fair, Mac. I think your frustration in that regard is fair. Is it fun? Look, I think you and I have both worked customer service positions in our lives.
Yes.
where you have to deal directly with the public, and
Mhm.
you've seen people at their worst. And you get angry. Maybe you've fought some of them. Maybe you lost a job to cursing some of them out. My point is, these are personal interactions. Generally, the people that we see behaving badly are not on the clock.
Yeah.
And when the first response is, let's get these people fired, what you're doing is you're extending the purview of the boss to the point where, and you're hurting yourself in the long run. Ray and I were talking about this earlier today, and he was saying this. You're basically saying that your boss does have 24/7 control over you.
Yeah.
When Dog the Bounty Hunter used the N-word, he was having a personal phone call with his son about why he didn't want his son's girlfriend in the house, because she said she was going to record them saying the N-word to sell the tape for money. And he was telling, if you listen to the conversation, he goes, son, that girl said she was going to come here and ruin everything we work for. Because we say nigger in this house, son. I don't mean piece of shit, scum of the earth, low down, dirty, rotten nigger. I just mean nigger. Now, Dog the Bounty Hunter, regardless of his heartfelt explanation for his use of the N-word, his job on TV, whether you find it performative or not, is to arrest brown people that are poor and destitute and addicted to drugs for a camera. And then as he's taking them off to pound me in the ass prison, ruin your life, never get a certain kind of job again, prison, not vote anymore, have a hard time finding housing, prison. He wants to tell them a story of redemption and hope as he sends them on their way. This man also gets to operate with impunity.
Yeah.
They don't need warrants.
No. The bail bonds industry is absolute bullshit. I'm sorry. The fact that we have municipalities that rely on cash bail to help prop up their bottom lines is disgusting to me. Right. And when you think about this is what kicks, kind of sticks in my craw, so to speak, about the big push for all this, Trump's nonsense about immigration. A lot of people forget that Obama had over 3 million people deported. No fasci uniformed arm that just worships at the cock of Donald Trump running around cities, not displaying badges, covering their faces, doing it. He just, had people go pick him up, put him on a plane, send him home. But you realize where a lot of these people are going. People like to point out that fucking horrible camp and it's beyond a prison. It's disgusting, in El Salvador. But where a lot of these potential deported folks are ending up? Private prisons.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So a corporation's going to make money for housing alleged prisoners. And I don't know if you've noticed, but they swooped up and rounded up about 40 former interpreters that we had in Afghanistan. People brought here legally. And they're being swooped up. People being taken, leaving from their immigration cases and their immigration check-ins while they're on the process to citizenship, being swooped up, nabbed up. They're just trying to ensure that these corporations that run private prisons are going to make their bonus this year before they send them. I mean, I think what I read is like anywhere from 18 to 24% of these people aren't even going back to their home of origin. A group of 24 Somalis ended up in Kazakhstan. I've seen an atlas, Jason.
Nowhere near.
They're not even on the same continent.
No.
this entire process is to enrich certain people,
Mhm.
in this case, private prisons, before they get, the bad guys out. And last I checked, if they send these interpreters back to Afghanistan, they're dead men.
Jesus Christ.
They'll be murdered on sight.
They're not looking for bad people. They're just looking for brown people. And
they're looking for,
it's backfired. It's backfired massively on them. People don't like it. Their supporters don't like it. And they're just digging their heels into something they don't like.
And see, this is what kills me about their supporters don't like it. Their supporters finally were inconvenienced by it, because guess what? A lot of these men and women who have been here for a very long time working to get their citizenship were performing functions in the community. Let's say roofing, let's say construction, let's say landscaping, that are no longer being done. It inconvenienced them. And now suddenly they're like, fuck. Who's going to cut our grass?
Well, I'll go one step further and say that these people owned businesses as well and were in middle management positions in some of these construction and landscaping like companies. Like we're talking landscaping golf courses and things like that. We're not talking, a couple guys cutting the lawn.
Yeah.
So the reality of what this has been kind of a nightmare. I was saying this when it first happened some months ago. I was like, the businesses won't stand for this. McDonald's in Southern California alone won't stand for this.
Yeah.
Because they're not just losing, the late shift guys, they're losing all their managers.
Yeah. I mean, and on top of that, if we're going to sit here and prosecute people that are actively trying to do this correctly, and by this, I mean immigrate here. Well, one, I don't know why you'd want to. Yeah, we have a nice shiny veneer of this place rocks. But when you just chip away just a little bit, it's like, oh, that place sucks, right? But to each their own. I'm not going to judge. I'm the Planet Fitness of humanity at this point. I'm not going to judge you until you give me a reason to.
The Planet Fitness of
right? But why aren't we fucking going after the business owners? That should be fucking priority one. These people are exploiting other human beings, paying them less than livable wages. In a lot of cases, we'll say Campbell Soup Company, which owns a plant right outside where I graduated college, would literally contract with the government of Mexico to have hundreds of workers sent over. And guess where they stay, Jason? Tent encampments on site of the plant.
Damn.
They were allowed one trip a week to Walmart in groups of no more than 8 to buy toiletries and clothes if needed. You know? Why aren't we going after the CEO of Campbell's?
I think most people can't see what migrant labor looks like in certain environments. I've talked about it on this show before. Working in the Gulf of Mexico, they would bring in Filipinos and have them stay in like double wide trailers and charge them an absorbent amount of money for everything. They're thousands of miles away from home, so they have to rely on like this company's car services to get us from where you stay to.
Dude, they run company towns. They run fucking company towns.
Yeah, and it's every you could charge. I think I told you I saw a grown man. You're only supposed to be out there for like at most 6 weeks is the max you're supposed to be out there for. And this guy was out there for like 3 months.
Yeah,
and someone handed him a check, and it was for $80 because of all the expenses that he was getting hit for. I saw a grown man cry. A grown man cry in the galley, and I don't think a lot of, and that was in the aughts. So
god damn,
things haven't gotten better in that regard.
No,
and I think a lot of that goes to the fact that you're talking about people that don't have a spotlight on them, and these aren't people that moved to the U.S. They literally were here on work visas to work this particular job, and they were going to go home. There's more labor like that than people probably imagine in the US, and to see a certain amount of cruelty constantly play out to a certain class of people, and when you talk about it, just no one cares. And now we finally, Trump does this wonderful thing where he's able to make people care about something that unless you're part of that community, you kind of don't really give a shit about. And I'm not saying Trump is good. I'm just saying, and I'm
Yeah.
glad there's attention.
Like you said,
But
it backfired in his face. And
twice. This is the second
yeah,
time.
I don't think anybody realizes how poorly this has went for the administration. His little fucking, suck my dick parade that went down in DC, almost nobody fucking showed.
Yeah.
I saw some 82nd guys there, and my heart broke because I was like, you dumb sons of bitches thought you were going to get a free trip to DC just to march. You fucking losers, But, we had what? They projected anywhere from 11 to 20 million people out in various cities and towns across the United States.
Mad as hell. Mad as hell.
Yeah.
Because this thing is backfiring. But it's a mixed bag of mad as hell.
Yeah.
And when we've been talking about this, when everything is commodifiable, your dissent becomes commodifiable. And that's where I'm like, can we even just dissent without having to let the world know? Like, what are people ready? Me and Alex Herbert were on last night, and we were talking. He was doing his Lenin in 45 volumes update, and we were talking about revolution and what you're willing to risk. And I was talking to a man. I booked a show for this guy. Wrote a really good essay about the show Andor.
A really good show. I really liked it.
I have to get Disney Plus now for at least a week to watch Andor and do this.
Hey, bro, you can get that free week. Watch all 2 seasons.
Free week?
Yeah, they typically do that, like a free week or so. Yeah, it's like the promo, and just make sure you cancel it because they're not going to do it for you.
Mac. I'm too poor.
I know.
I will set an alarm the day before, but he was quoting Huey Newton and revolutionary suicide, and kind of talking about this idea of revolutionary suicide, and are people really willing to really risk themselves when they go out and do these things? Because that to me, that's what you're up against every time.
Yeah.
You're always up against that every time. And are you leaving the house with that idea? Are you, mad? And then what are you asking for, beyond that?
I mean, and see, this is going to be the issue with, we ran into this during Occupy Wall Street, right? We couldn't get all the various groups on board together, and it petered out, right? And it did. That's all you can say about it. It did. It petered out. You had a lot of people that had good ideas that refused to work with others. And to a point, I understand that. Like me, where I am at politically, I don't want to work with pro-capitalist groups. I don't think there's anything to gain there. But Coconut, that goes back to what Jason was saying. What are you willing to risk? You have a lot of people that see things are fucked up, but they still deeply love this country for some reason. My mom called me on Father's Day and was like, hey, man, what do you think about all this? And I think it's great. I think, honestly, I need more of that dude with the Mexican flag standing on the smoldering cop car. That's what I need more of in my life. And she's like, you'd watch this, you would watch the United States fall apart. I was like, it wouldn't hurt my feelings at all if it balkanized. I don't give a shit. After what I've seen this country do, after seeing how we failed the Afghan people, after, watching so many things and just, and honestly being a student of history and getting a degree in it and learning more about the fucked up shit we did through Central and South America, Africa, Asia, like just America's a failed experiment and it's only working for a very small group of people. So why would I want it to continue? I'm an adult enough to know that if this place did balkanize, it's going to be rough. It'll be horrible for a little bit. And you have to be realistic when we talk about revolution, right, Jason? You're going to have people that are willing to risk everything. And people like that, there's no talking them out of a course of action when they've decided upon it. And this is what I'm saying. Like when we talked about that tipping point with having like the Marines and the National Guard in the streets, like LA's a test run. I wouldn't be surprised if he activates the Illinois National Guard and gets them into Chicago, or the New York National Guard and gets them into New York City, or even fucking the Florida National Guard and putting them in Tampa or another big city there. This is a speed run. That's what it is. It's a testing ground.
I agree.
I don't think active duty personnel are going to go whole hog over to full fascism, because you got a lot of different personalities from a lot of different places, right? National Guards, though, you know, those are state units. They draw from the people that live there. So, you know, red states will fucking back him whole hog. ICE will back him whole hog. But you'll see many civil wars within military units. But it goes back to that skit we watched. Remember with the funny dude that was talking about, you know, the 100 Cletuses getting taken out by the dude with the drone pushing one button?
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's going to be. Like, you have to realize this potential civil conflict that could happen. People forget how mean and nasty they are to begin with. I think it'll be mean and nastier just because of the scope. Right? This is huge. And on top of that, you're going to have states that have military units. And get this, the National Guard still gets pretty good tech when we talk about planes, helicopters, all that shit that the active duty side has. You know, they still have air defense units, Jason. They have ground systems radar operators at state level units that operate ground to air missiles. You know, this isn't going to be like it was in 1861 to 1865.
That's the hard thing to try to tell people, dude. It's like, look, you're reading books about the Russian Revolution. That's a different time.
Yeah, man.
People killed animals with their bare hands. Like, no, it's a different time.
Yeah. We're in a very tech driven.
I know people that won't kill spiders.
Yeah. You know, but like the thing is, if something happens, and it could just be something small, it doesn't even have to be a protracted conflict. But say Trump just wants to get froggy with Cali because, you know, fuck Gavin Newsom. Say Trump actually takes the step in trying to remove Gavin Newsom.
He's definitely trying. I think he needs Gavin Newsom as a foil.
Yeah, but I think if Newsom keeps it. Okay, so I fought this dude, right?
Gavin Newsom?
No, not Gavin Newsom. I would kill Gavin Newsom in a fight. That would be over. When I was boxing, I fought this dude, and he didn't hit hard, right? But you know what he was? A fucking nuisance, right? And I know he wasn't doing a lot of damage. I wasn't hurting, but dude, he closed one of my eyes up by the 4th round. He just hit it so many fucking times. And it pissed me off to where I made a horrible decision. And he ended up just planting the most perfect fucking uppercut right in my solar plexus, dude. Knocked the wind out of me. One of my 3 losses, right? Newsom is going to be that nuisance to Trump. And he'll just keep picking and picking and picking until Trump does something stupid. Because you know better than I do, because you've watched Newsom for what, 25 years?
Yeah.
He's got an oversized personality and a very enlarged ego and an opinion of himself. He really does give off "I'm the smartest man in the room" vibes.
Yes.
And, you know, I could see him provoking that reaction from the big orange fucking Cheeto, you know? And say he just decides to start shit there. That's not going to be good for anybody. I don't give a fuck. I've heard people from Mississippi like, so what? If he goes into California and starts blowing shit up, ain't going to affect me. Yes, it will. California's economy is in all the other 49 states of the union. Hate to tell you this, bud. California itself has what, like a top 10 GDP on the planet? You know, like, come the fuck on. You know, we're all going to feel it, and it's not going to be pretty. You know, how much of our import literally comes through the port of Oakland or any other port on the West Coast and gets fucking railheaded or shipped through truck across the rest of the country. A lot of it, you know, like this is going to be bad, man. You know, it's just like when all these people are like, I'm willing to die for the revolution. Okay, cool. But you need to be aware of what that revolution will bring. It's not going to be something quick, you know. As cheesy as it sounds, man, like it's, you know, you're looking at kind of like a dystopian picture when you get down to it, you know, and it's going to affect negatively a lot of lives. And from there, sure, you can build something new, but are you willing to deal with that going into it? Do I think we're going to vote in revolution? Fuck no, not in this country, not with our stupid political system. No. But what we can start doing is what I've been preaching for a decade. Start at your local and state governments, especially if you have referendum power. You know, I understand in Ohio, you know, multiple referendums that have been passed that the Ohio GOP is like, we get it. You people want it, but we're under no inclination to give it to you. You know, well, at that point, start voting those fuckers out. And then you get involved and start changing the laws. That's honestly the safest way you can do it. Start small, grow big. You know, but dude, I'm scared for my kids, man. That's all I'm saying. They're 16 and 14. And there's just a lot of shit in the works with a lot of stupid people at the head.
I see how it's affecting the way they think about, you know, just even like for my older one, you know, the next step of life post college, you know, what kind of job did she want before to what she thinks she needs now? You know, I've seen just that change to the point where it's like, I'm not going to try to quote unquote talk sense to you. Then also that's can be a little belittling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it has more of a negative effect than people really want to think about when we think about things like teaching, for example. Like, who wants to be a teacher? Everyone tells you it's a horrible job that doesn't pay well. If you hear that enough, you'll be like, well, I don't want to be a teacher. But depending on who you are, where you live, how you live, it's a pretty decent job.
Dude, I would love to go back and teach full time. I enjoyed it.
You can make some. Would you make more money than you're making now?
Honestly, no.
Really?
It'd be about the same. In North Carolina, yeah.
Would you have benefits, though?
I mean, I have benefits now.
Better than a teacher's benefits?
Dude, my VA benefits, people
you have a
bitch
VA
about
benefit.
it.
I forgot. You cheated.
I did. I just, risk near death and then.
What about a pension, though? Your job doesn't give you. Is your job giving you a pension?
Fuck no, man.
So yeah, you get your at least a 401k.
Dude, here in North Carolina, fuck, dude. The
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's benefits to working in a school.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, one of the things I'd like to see done is a politician with balls. That is like, listen, if you have enough money to do X, Y, and Z, then you have enough money to start offering pensions rather than 401ks. Because the 401k is the biggest fucking runaround in America. You know, like one of them in recent American history, right? Would I like to put money into a 401k? Absolutely. But see, I have to have it to, I don't know, exist. You know, so sorry.
DF says, did this start off with y'all talking about kids playing tight end and linebacker?
Pretty much, DF, pretty much.
You know what's even funnier? I didn't want Mac to stay on this long because he's like, dude, I'm tired of long days. He's like, you know what? That's fine. I got a long week. This week is going to fucking suck. I decided to do all these fucking shows, and then people are going to call me a piece of shit for a fucking half hour.
But I mean, I think this is a discussion we needed to have, whether it's two sports and the lack of opportunities for kids to just go out and play sports and enjoy it, or, the potential for, national disruption under a civil war. Like, I tell young kids all the time, if this is something you're itching for, then you need to read up on the effects on what happens.
You know what a great thing to tell them? Tell them this. If you want to leave with this, we can leave with this. On my way back, Mac, I chill out. There's a place called Magic Mountain. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
It's in a place called Santa Clarita. Just past this, Magic Mountain is like a big Six Flags amusement park in Southern California, north of Disneyland, way north, 3 hours north, 4 hours north. Anyway, 3 hours north. Anyway, they have a massive parking lot that you can fit RVs in, and people just sleep there. So that's my halfway point. If I can stay awake to Magic Mountain, I can go to the McDonald's. I have the app. I can get something for free, sleep in my car for a bit, motor down the highway when I wake up, and I'll bypass LA traffic. That's the plan. I'm doing it. And all of a sudden, I see 10 police SUVs, sirens, but they're going northbound. I'm going southbound, right? I'm like, oh, man, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? It was the curfew, and they shut the freeway off.
Oh,
the 5 goes from Canada.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that like the longest highway in the United States?
Yeah, it's a shipping route from Canada to Mexico. If you want to be real particular about it, right? From like, I don't know, what's the city? Bremerton? No, what's that city? Right before the border. Right before the border of Canada. And it stops as you cross into Mexico. And they blocked that in the middle. And you just see truck after truck, car after car. And I hit this in, I guess, the southern part of LA. And as I'm hitting Orange County, Mac, I'm still seeing the traffic.
God damn.
If that's not enough to make anyone get out of their car, I don't know. I don't know what it takes for people to be that angry for the revolution. Because I think there's certain inconveniences that people just accept.
I will say this, and this is what we'll leave on. If that is something that you want, you better learn to live hard. And I don't mean you being hard to other people. You better learn what it's like to eat a meal every day or two. You better learn how to purify water with like a t-shirt. You better learn to live out of a bag. You better learn how to take care of your feet. And you better have, like, when you finally end up in a spot where you feel safe enough to set up roots, you might want to bring some seeds with you and learn to start growing shit.
Yeah.
You know, because we're a pretty technologically reliant country. And I hate to tell you, a lot of that shit's going to go away. A lot of it. You know, hey, you know, Deshaun, don't talk to me about the F-35. That thing barely gets off the fucking ground. If you said F-16s or F-18s, okay, you're absolutely correct. But F-35s, absolutely not. That thing's a fucking piece of shit.
Well, Deshaun, we said this, that they would deploy drones.
Oh, dude, yeah.
We've already said that. We literally said that. Yeah. No. I'm just saying, there's always, people think there's like a tipping point where like, I've had enough. And it's like, I would have had enough. I'm like sitting in traffic from Orange County all the way. And then, so my iPhone went off, Mac. And it said, warning, the freeway is shut down. So you had to go through a checkpoint basically to see if you were eligible to continue on your path. So if you had to go to work, of course you got to go through, or if you're hauling freight, of course you're going to go through. But
oh my gosh, man.
Oh, dude, it's and I don't know if it's over. I honestly don't know because I don't live in LA.
Fuck that, dude. Fuck that.
He said, I'm going to goon and eat Jack in the Box. I ain't picking up no cat.
Oh, you know what, Deshaun?
Got it all. Deshaun got it all.
He's good, man. He's got a plan. You know, but all right, everybody, I'm going to bed. I need to put some aloe on because your pasty boy is starting to turn pink.
Oh, dude. Why are
Dude,
you leaving the house without sunblock? You should look like Marcel Marceau every time you leave your house.
Bro, I cover myself. I reapply 5 times a day because I'm outside all the time now. My photo lab, both doors broken. So I got to take pictures outside. The last 3 days, I've gotten 42 new vehicles on the lot. 5 more showed up when I clocked out tonight. So, like stocking them in, going to be outside. DF, I didn't say lotion. I said sunblock. There's a difference. Okay. I don't lotion, sunblock. But like most of my day I'm outside now. And like my boss dead ass today was like, I sat down, dude. I went inside because I'd been outside for about 6 hours and I was fucking dying. He's like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, I'm taking 15 minutes to regulate my body temperature. I'm sorry. And he's like, man, come on, dude. And I looked at him and I'm like, bro, this is the first time I've seen. That's right. Nuri's right. The Irish have 2 natural enemies, the English and the sun. There is no fucking lie in that, man. But like, dude, Jason, my boss, that ass looks at me and is like, you got to get this shit done. I was like, excuse me? I was like, Tony, get out of my fucking office. Get out. Because I was like, I will fight you. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, I will fucking fight you right now. I was like, I've changed my shirt twice today.
And you have to wear a button up for work, don't you?
I got it's a moisture wicking polo, man.
Oh, okay. But still, they provided it at the very least. Okay. Still, it's not like.
But I was like, dude, just stop. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. Well, Stuart, do they make those with Chevy, the bow tie on it? Because then I could wear it. But I can't wear it if it doesn't have that. Hey, listen, my beard, I have a beard shampoo I use on it. But other than that, this is all natural, baby.
Ronald Curry.
Yeah,
Ronald Curry played in that North Carolina team too,
yeah,
right?
He was the point guard for that team. Played QB for the UNC football team, and then went on to be a wide receiver for the Raiders.
For the Raiders for a bunch of years.
Yeah, and then he had 2 years in Canada, and then he was like, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore.
I didn't know he played in Canada.
Yeah.
Mac, go to sleep.
I will, man. I can talk to you about Canadian football, everybody. I love spring football.
He does. Mac does love spring football. Who won the UFL?
It was the Defenders this year. So there we go.
I care about as much as the UFL as soccer.
I know. All right, guys. I love you. Jason, you be good. Going to sleep, y'all.
Peace, brother. Love you. Thank you, Mac. Macadocious Rex. My name is Jason Miles. This one was an interesting one. I actually had a plan, and you guys were like, fuck your plan. You guys were like this.
We coming for you, nigga.
Hard R. Hard R at me. I will never joke about soccer again. Because apparently
Surprised how many people love the crap.
It's addictive. And I was not aware how hooked you guys were. So no more football jokes from me. Again, if I see 2 Mexican kids playing catch with a baseball, I'll slap the shit out of them, give them a soccer ball, and say, it's not me, it's the people that watch my show. My nightmare fuel right now, Mercutio, is the the ska soccer riot. The ska soccer snooker pool riot is upon us, and I can't fall victim to that. Nuri says that's the Lord's work. I would die I couldn't do it with a straight face. I would never slap a bit. I like baseball. It's fun. It's such a fun sport to play. But I'll be back tomorrow night with Jeff Chang and Davey D. It's been a long time trying to get either one of these guys on the show. When I was a whistleblower at the shelter I worked at, the only person to talk to me was Davey D. Davey D interviewed me, and we talked about that whole thing on his radio show. So it'll be a pleasure talking to these guys. They have a banned book. The government said your book is not fit for U.S. consumption, which I think is odd. It's a book about the history of hip hop. I don't think he's going to, like, the worst that can happen is like 1,000 DJs were born after reading this book. Like, that's the only thing that can happen. Is that really that bad? It might be kind of annoying. But is it really that bad? I don't know. Yeah, is that here? A banned book about hip hop. So I have to work on that introduction and try to not be rude. But seriously, I'm excited for the show. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It's always fun. It's always fun to fuck with you guys. And for people listening to this show later, you have to watch the show live. You have to join in on all the shit talk that happens on the show. It is what makes this thing worth doing, in my opinion. So thank you guys for giving me the motivation to come back and do this show. And don't forget, Friday. If you are a patron to the show, it's Ninja Appreciation Month. We're watching Revenge of the Ninja. If you don't have the means to be a patron and you want to watch the movie with us, send me an email. booking@thisisrevolutionpodcast.com. Jay, I'd love to do it. Times is tough right now. I can't. Just send me an email. We'll make it happen. And on that note, let's get out of here. Wait, where is that? We are out.